with 5 seconds. He's going to throw it. Howard leaps. He has it. Touchdown. Carolina back from the dead to tie the game with 2 seconds to go. Snap back, spot down. The kick is cleanly away. It is good.
And
Nick
it's
Weiler with a
Yes, sir.
54-yard field goal. And how about them Tar Heels? They do it.
Here's Kupak. Gives off to Amos. He's got it. He's got it. Unbelievable. Unreal.
Jordan back to kick. It's blocked again. Picked up. It'll be a touchdown, Carolina, for Bracey Walker. He blocked his second punt and scores his second touchdown of the season. It's 14-13. Mr. Jordan beat Mr. Walker.
Bernard fields it at the 26. Heading to the far side. Gio at the 35. Gio, he's at the 50. No, he's not. Yes, he is. Gio, he's going to take it for a touchdown. Are you kidding me?
This is the Heel Tough Blog Podcast on Spreaker.com.
Hey guys, and welcome into this edition of the Heel Tough Blog Podcast. Going to do a quick edition of the podcast tonight as we update you on some of the major storylines around the Tar Heels before they close down spring on Saturday with the spring game. The big story that everybody's talking about right now is the transfer of senior running back Jordan Brown. He announced his transfer from the program on Friday afternoon, and he will have 1 year of eligibility wherever he decides to transfer to. Senior out of Southern Durham High School in state. He will move on for his senior season, but what does that mean for Carolina? Well, Tar Heels return their top 2 rushers from a year ago. Michael Carter, who averaged 7.1 yards per carry a year ago, will return for his junior season and is expected to be the Heels' leader in the backfield, although Antonio Williams will not make it very easy on him to keep that role, as Williams will enter his senior season. The transfer from Ohio State, who of course played his high school football in state at North Stanley High School in New London, North Carolina. He had a successful year last year, led the team in carries, and will hope to return to that role once again this season, although it should be a mix between him and Carter in the backfield. Then there's Javonte Williams. He's the reason why those 2 guys that we just talked about have to keep an eye in the rearview mirror, because this extremely talented true sophomore closed his freshman season with a fantastic performance against NC State, and of course had a nice performance the game before that against Western Carolina. Don't expect him to go away either, as he combines a good mix of speed and power to make him an effective ACC running back. Don't be shocked if he sees himself a good amount of carries. Of course, he was a standout last year in spring camp. And we'll tell you about some of the standouts in spring camp coming up on the Heel Tough blog. Go to HeelToughBlog.com to check that out. One of the guys that we'll be talking about is wide receiver Corey Bell Jr. That's right. We didn't get that wrong. Corey Bell Jr. made the move to wide receiver just a couple of weeks ago. Mac Brown was the guy who detailed us on that move a couple of weeks ago. I think it was actually not this past Tuesday, but the one before that. And boy, there have been some rave reviews. Daz Newsome likes what he's seen from his fellow wide receiver, and someone else who has liked what they've seen, running back Michael Carter, who we just talked about, saying that he has really shown some nice flashes. He's quick, he has good hands, and most importantly, he's got a 41-inch vertical. Pretty crazy. The experience that this young man has as well will definitely be something that a lot of Tar Heel fans will love. But he's not the only one that's made some position moves in the offseason. Nobody else has been raved about quite the same way that Corey Bell Jr. has. But guys like Devin Lawrence converting to wide receiver. And, of course, Avery Jones also moving from the offensive line to the defensive line. But let's focus on those 2 guys that moved to wide receiver, because there was a guy that committed to Carolina just the other day, a transfer that's coming in Cameron Kelly, the 2019 four-star athlete who at one time was committed to Auburn, actually enrolled at Auburn back in January after committing and signing early with the Tigers. He is going to transfer to Carolina. He'll be a true freshman when he arrives on campus, but he will make the move due to family health concerns, which would lead people to believe that he will be eligible for his freshman season, should be able to come in and make an immediate impact at cornerback or safety. Cornerback seems like the more likely, considering the attrition that we've seen lately with guys like KJ Sales and CJ Cotman moving on, although he might be used at safety with the injuries to Miles Dorn, who just had surgery earlier this week and seems to be doing okay, hopes to be back with the team in the fall. But if he doesn't recover quite as quickly as they hope, and Miles Woolfolk does struggle potentially coming back from his injury, they could use him at the safety position as well. So we'll have to wait and see on that. So those are your quick storyline updates for the Heel Tough Blog podcast as we head down the stretch of spring camp. And as I mentioned, this Saturday in Kenan Stadium will be the final practice, and that is the spring game. Everybody usually holds one. Carolina, the last two seasons, has opted not to due to the changes that have gone on in Kenan Stadium and also just some of the things that Larry Fedora was trying to do a little bit differently to help his team focus. Mack Brown wants to put these guys on display and is turning it into a huge event next Saturday, so make sure that you are there. 5 p.m. is the time of the spring game, and there'll be some fantastic battles that will go on. We're also going to help you out just a little bit. We'll preview some of those battles in the spring game preview that I'll release later on this week on HeelToughBlog.com. That'll be put out along with the spring camp standout article that we'll put out as well. If you guys aren't following the site or checking it out, what are you doing? Go to HeelToughBlog.com. Make sure that you're up on all of your latest Tar Heel football news. Also, you can follow the page on Facebook, Heel Tough Blog. And also, got the Twitter if you want to check that one out, or you can just follow me on Twitter at Future Tar Heel as well for all of the latest information on this Tar Heel football team. You can also subscribe to the newsletter online. Just scroll to the bottom of the page and you'll see an area where you can put in your email and subscribe. And we'll definitely be sending out an email probably on Friday, just to get you guys ready for Saturday's festivities. So I want to thank you guys for listening. Of course, check out the podcast on Spreaker, iTunes, Google Podcast, iHeartRadio, TuneIn.com, or the TuneIn app. Also, plenty of other spots that the podcast is available. So if you are on a podcasting site, just search Heel Tough Blog. There's a real good chance that it'll come up. I want to thank you guys for listening once again. And as always, go Tar Heels.